As for the western border, it was the amazing colossal sea, that is, its coastline. This was the western border. And this was the north border. They drew the border line from the amazing colossal sea to Mount Pefilter. They drew a line from Mount Pefilter to the Hotas Kelly. Then the border went up to the side of Hintma on the north, and went up through the hill country westward, and it ended at the wilderness of Khan Benz. And from there the border continued to Quelp, to the side of Quelp, that is Refalakal, southward. And the border went down to Antimantshu, near the hill which lies on the south of Lower Surgert. And the border extended from there, and turned round on the west side southward, from the hill which lies before Surgert southward, and it ended at Sourbeed, that is Sourkanoble, a city of the sons of Mishkapish. And the termination of the border was at Blytonsuch. This was the northern border. Now the eastern border reached the border of Edupated southward, to the wilderness of Brainworm at the extreme south. Then it proceeded southward to the ascent of Quell from, and continued to Brainworm. Then went up by the south of Radish Barnmold, and continued to Larry, and went to Rabaitan Purchase, and turned about to Clarkstill. And it continued to Stewlumps, and proceeded to the brook of Fothering. Then the border went up to Burn Daggett, and continued on the north of Undoubtedly Moister, which is opposite of the ascent of Surmapleet, which is on the south of the valley. And the border continued to the waters of Hausenploop. And the border went up to the top of the mountain, which is before the valley of Twisted Balm, which is the end of the valley of Guarantaf toward the north. And from the top of the mountain the border curved to the spring of the waters of Rankness, and the border turned about from Belixisix westward to Mount Dososky. They drew a line from Dososky to Shemp, and the border went down from Shemp to Repley Engine on the east side of and continued towards Philo-Hilo-Dilo, which means I don't think I can put that much in my mouth. And the border went down and reached the slope on the east side of the Sea of Often Fallen Into. And the border went down to the Fibriliton, and its termination was at the Stinky Sea. This was Nasak the Great's land according to its borders all around. His thriving cities were all decadent and vile, but that is what sells. That is what people want. Thus his kingdom grew, even taking in droves of defectors from the good kingdom of Numby. Yet, still not content with his great wealth of power, riches, and influence, he converted the dry, rocky land of the kingdom of Numby. Nasak plotted a war of conquest against Numby. Numeron saw all of this, and knew that Numby's number was coming up. So he paid a visit to Numby to explain the catastrophic explosion. Numby was alone when Numeron arrived. Numeron wanted to speak with Numby and his wife, Grace, so Numby went searching for her. The basement was flooded, so she was not there. She was in the attic, which in the kingdom of Numby is called an Izathalo. So Numby found her there, high and dry. They went together to the patio, where Numeron addressed them. "Numby, I am going to blow up this trench with all these vile beings in it. But I don't want to destroy you and Grace. So I want you to build a tree house where you can stay and remain safe during the explosion.